Empathizing with historical figures and people in history is so human, and it is often how we first connect with the past. I love the idea of empathy and historical work. It's something that I take pride in doing as my work as a historian. And it's something that when I was lecturing that I really tried to explain to students that people's lives back then, they had emotions and feelings and experiences the way we do. Just because they were in history doesn't mean that they weren't experiencing things like that. And I love when that goes the other way and that we start empathizing with these situations that these people experienced. I might make another video on that. But I really understand why people feel really sad about Percy Shelley not having access to his two children after his first wife had died. And I think it's important to connect empathy back to evidence. So he did see his children very early on when they were young, when he was with Harriet Shelley. By 1814, before Harriet Shelley had died and there was any court case, he had already left the family, and his contact definitely becomes irregular. And then after Harriet died in 1816, he applies for custody, and that was rejected by the Court of Chancery in 1817. Custody was placed with the maternal grandparents, the Westbrooks. They were respectable, religious, middle-class Londoners. In the eyes of the court, they represent stability and moral safety. Once that decision was made, any further involvement from Percy Shelley would have depended on their consent. It is just how the English law worked in that period of time. And after 1817, the record goes very quiet. Percy Shelley's own letters, there is a significant body of correspondence that survives. But they don't describe any visits with the children, ongoing contact, or attempts to resume like a parental role. There's also no evidence that he returned to court to seek access or to try and challenge the custody agreement. If he did see the children again, it left no trace in the archive. That isn't to say that he didn't, it's that we have no evidence that it happened. So yes, it is really sad, but it's also a story that is deeply shaped by 19th century law, family authority and silence, and the idea of stigma. So it means that we must recognise how limited choices were and how much of this was decided around children who had no voice in it. And I think that's why I try to tell it carefully, and I also think that a lot of this still echoes in some of these experiences today.